So tell me, what's the number one question you guys get asked with your customers when they come in?
Why is my pond green? Probably the most common one.
Algae, that
Mhm.
dreaded foe. Okay, yeah. Now,
Yeah, I've been
so
doing this 15 years. I've heard that 97,000 times. So
yeah,
it's crazy.
and I'm the same. Just from anyone I've talked to, it's always the same thing. So on that algae topic, what is your number one remedy for it?
Generally, the first thing we recommend is we ask if they have a UV filter. So that's a very big part of combating the algae, but at the same time, making sure they have enough filtration, maybe adding more plants to their system, basically things like that. The filtration is really the key.
Yeah, there's always a checklist. So as far as like a consumer approaching us or even a client calling for service or something of that nature, it's usually how large is the pond? How many fish do you have? What type of filtration do you have? Do you have plants? Where is your aeration? Is it subsurface? Do you have a waterfall? Do you have constant movement 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365? Then obviously the proper water treatments. We don't use chemicals, but you know about the natural bacteria and enzyme products and stuff like that. That's our checklist really. Those five keys: filtration, UV, plants, air, water treatments.
Do you find location is key, not so much around the country, but as far as full sunlight versus shaded trees, that sort of thing? Does that have much of an impact?
It definitely can have an impact, and a lot of times the pond needs to be designed for where they're putting it. So I've seen many full sun ponds work just fine, but they generally need a lot more plants and maybe higher filtration, maybe more water movement as well, and more aeration.
Right.
Meanwhile, shaded ponds, you can be maybe a little less plants in that you don't need quite as much filtration.
Yeah, we have multiple water features here on the property, and literally there'll be a pond 10 feet away from each other, two separate features. They have different types of filtration, different types of fish inside them, but they operate totally different. One might be one way one day, one might be another the other day, depending on the way the building is reflecting or what's in it or what gets blown into it. But every single water feature pond, no matter what it is, it's its own entity. It has its own life, and that's why it's a great thing to have an ecosystem without a doubt. So,
It's a living, breathing thing for sure.
yep.
What's the easiest way to distinguish, especially when they're smaller, between goldfish and koi?
The easiest way is the koi have the barbels or the whiskers on their face, and goldfish also get up to about 14 inches, while koi can get up to 30 plus inches. So size, koi are usually a little bit rounder and thicker, goldfish are a little bit rounder, while koi are generally a little more slender and long. But when they're small, it can be a little bit difficult to tell.
Will they grow to their environment size? The larger the pond, the larger gives them the opportunity to grow?
Part of it is genetic disposition for how much they're going to grow, but the main factors in growth are going to be feeding and filtration. So I've seen really big ponds that don't grow the koi out very big because they don't feed them super often. But if you're feeding your koi 3 to 5 times a day, then you're going to see significant growth, even if it's not a very big pond.
Right.
Yeah,
Now, yes. Sorry,
you'll
John.
see very rapid growth through water changes. So with a koi, they let off that pheromone. So if you're consistently doing multiple water changes a week, I've even had an urban legend of somebody having a very slow leak in a 300-gallon pond and the fish going to 30, 36 inches plus. So that is always a question that somebody always says, will my fish only grow to a certain amount of area? But if you could get a koi almost 3 feet and 300 gallons because it consistently had that slow leak and you kept changing that water and letting that pheromone out of the water, I mean, the sky's the limit. You could really work wonders with growth. So,
Oh, that's a great one. Urban legend, you say, though, but
urban legend.
okay, okay, very good. Good to know. So let's talk predators. What are the biggest things that you find the ponds and the fish get attacked by?
Birds.
Yeah,
Birds would probably be number one.
definitely down here, it's the heron. Um, the raccoons will visit and stuff like that, but there'll be a lot of visitors. Here on the property, we have a large canal out back. So I always thought that was going to be a major issue for us for our features that were out back. So we incorporated koi and goldfish in those ponds. But the way that they're constructed, if a predator was to visit at night when we're not here, we do see snakes and different things in the yard. We've never had an issue out back. So then 2 years later, we've now set up a bunch of retail tanks outside. So we do sell koi and goldfish out back. And it's been a success. So if you're constructing things properly, netting ponds, netting tanks the proper way, where they can't actually approach the pond in the way that they need to as a predator, you're going to have success. And we teach those techniques when we're helping design ponds for people. So.
Is there a minimum depth you would recommend to help alleviate keeping the predators away?
At least 3 or 4 feet. Because 4 feet is a little better, just because the deeper they can go, the less likely something's going to get to them.
You don't want the heron waiting on the edge for a shallow one.
Yeah, and that's also part of how we design our ponds. So like for the shelves, for example, we have plants taking up the entirety of it so that no birds can even step on the shelves, even if they wanted to. Plus the fish can use that as a little hiding place. We have steep drop-offs in the pond too, so even if a heron wants to stand over on the front of it, it's 3-4 feet straight down from there. So it can't reach the fish at the bottom even if it wanted to. Rock overhangs under the waterfall and such, just so they have a little place to escape to, and then making it essentially so that there's no obvious places a bird could stand and pluck a fish out of the water.
Sure, makes a lot of sense.
And constructing koi caves, whether it's with rock and stuff like that in the feature, and even if you don't have that built in and you're having an issue in the future, we do sell plastic koi caves with PVC and things that could actually be inserted into the pond to help hide fish and make them safe.
How about plants? What are your number one recommendations for plants, both for aesthetics as well as you say, security, safety to help them give some coverage?
For security and safety, definitely the lilies, which it doesn't work as well in a pond with heavy shade because they require sunlight.
Right.
But the lilies help combat full sun also because they provide shade. They put some cover over there so it's harder for predators to see inside of them. They also help combat algae, which is nice. So lilies are definitely, plus they look great. So they're one of the most popular plants that we have here for sure.
Right. And now, so I'm being further north, of course, we lose them over the winter as we have to deal with ice conditions and that. But the lilies, no problem. They thrive throughout the season. They don't really diminish in quality.
They go a little dormant. We have a mini winter. It's probably majority of like December and January here. It's fairly quick. I mean, it does get warmer during the day, but those water temperatures stay pretty cool. So the tropicals that we do sell, they will go a little bit dormant. I mean, our retail stock stays pristine for customers and clients throughout the year, but at home, they will fall back. I like to have people try to repot some stuff and refeed prior, like on October, November. Today's the first day of fall officially. So have everybody that's purchasing now try to get something repot and refed now, because once we come out into our spring, which is like Valentine's Day, February down here, everybody needs to repot, refeed, and get back going. And they bounce back pretty quickly just because it's a short spell down here.
When they come in as far as ponds and they're looking to build one, what do they hit you with? Like, if they don't really know, what do you sort of throw out to them to help them make a decision as to style or size or shape or what they want in it?
So yeah, that's a pretty good question. So a lot of times it starts with just kind of figuring out what area they want to put it in and how much room they have to work with. And based on an area, we can usually give them a general gallonage size of a pond. For example, if they have a small backyard, it's probably going to be only a couple hundred gallons or something. Meanwhile, if they want to make an entire section of their backyard and they have a large yard, a pond, it might be a couple thousand gallons. So we generally try to at least give them an idea of what it takes for the different styles of ponds and such, so that they can make a more educated decision and know that they're not maybe making something more that they can afford to pay for, or something um, nice enough for them, because maybe they want to do something small and then they decide 2 months later they want to go bigger. So we just try to provide as much information and options and helping them through their process as we can. So there's, like a pond, it's limited to your imagination. So there's no one formula for anyone, but we generally have different sizes and options for different sizes that we go over with people.
Right. Would you
And
say, sorry, John?
these are our display features on the property. We have several small and medium features here. So as soon as somebody walks in the door, if they have no idea of anything, they could get a feel for what they're getting into, whether it's filtration, pumps, aesthetics, waterfall, fish, plants. Everything is here for them to feel, touch, and see, which is key for what we really truly do. And the ponds are taken care of like it's at their home. So they're not pristine where you won't see anything on the bottom. You're going to see a little bit of growth on the rock. This is what you're going to get at home. It's not a cookie cutter video shoot with a clean out prior. This is true pond living. And I mean, we enjoy it. We love it. I love when somebody walks in the door and says, I want something. The sky's the limit. It doesn't matter. It could be whatever you want. So,
like an artist with a fresh palette. You can just do whatever you like. Yeah.
We'll take people out back and discuss ideas with them for hours.
Right.
Just standing next to the pond, deciding, different kinds of rocks, if they want to use rocks at all, if they want to go with a bigger waterfall, just everything kind of plants.
What are your thoughts on rocks on the bottom versus just a rubber liner?
So personally, I like rocks for the pond. It's a little bit more maintenance for actually cleaning it and stuff, which you can mitigate that when it comes to the build too, like with a bottom drain, for example.
Right.
So the no rocks, we have both styles outside too, just to show people the difference. I think the rocks provide a nicer aesthetic. It makes it look more natural. Meanwhile, the no rocks, you can definitely make it look nice, but it's a little harder to kind of get it all to come together, in my opinion. Plus, if you have darker fish, it's harder to see darker fish.
Right.
So it kind of depends what look people want and what the level of maintenance they want is.
Right. Okay, makes sense. Where do you see the future of this business, this industry, the water gardens and people keeping fish?
I think it's going to grow. I don't think it's going to be the heyday of what it was 20 years ago. But across the board, everybody has seen a lot of changes this year. We all know what's going on. It's better for some people that want to be home. Why wouldn't you want to have an oasis and a waterfall and a water feature right in your backyard? Instead of traveling, we don't know what changes are going to come of the future and restrictions and all that. A lot more people have spent a lot of time at home, and I mean, who wouldn't want to be in their yard with a waterfall, sound, touch, feel, smell, all the great things that you want to go and do when you're on vacation. So we provide that. We love it. And once you get a feel for just even a small little, maybe patio pond or barrel type plant feature with movement, water, mosquito fish, and different things, you're going to get more ponds. You're going to get more water features on the property. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to love it. You're going to incorporate everything. And I mean, I love it. I'm going to go buy another house. This guy's buying a house with a pond, building another pond. So, I mean, this is our life, man. This is our job. This is what we do. So
it's addictive, isn't it?
Yeah. That's another thing that's good about the industry too, because once someone gets a water feature or a pond or anything, it really could just be like a little fountain or something. But the sound of water makes people want to get more of that and have more options for it around their properties.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time today. All the best for your company. I'm sure it's going to do well and thrive, given the topics we've talked about today. So thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate it.
Thanks for talking to us.
Have a good one.
You too. I hope you enjoyed this video today, guys, and you found it helpful. Before you leave, please check out one of my other videos you see here on the screen. And don't forget to subscribe. I'm putting up new pond and koi videos all the time, and when you subscribe, you'll be notified right away. And a thumbs up, always appreciated. Thanks for watching, guys.